Well, hello there. It's been a while since I've made a video, so thought I'd do a build update. There's been, a bunch of activity. There's been some setbacks. I actually had the first minor failure with the vacuum hose on the bypass valve. Actually split, just kind of cheap rubber, worn down over time. So I just replaced that. I did get it on a dyno. That's the good news. The bad news is I didn't know it at the time, but I figured out afterwards why it was weird. The rear motor mount had come completely loose, and it was knocking and pulling power at high RPM. So that being said, even in that condition, it did pull a 226 wheel horsepower with about equal torque, with a nice flat torque curve right from the get-go. So even right at 3,000 RPM, all the way out. Now it fell off a little bit more here than I think it is now. The other thing is I've switched to a prototype community-driven tune that I think is getting a little extra out of it as well. Put quite a few more miles on it. It's running fantastic. It still gets great gas mileage on the freeway. The biggest development recently is I finally got new tires and just came back from racing out at Evergreen Speedway. And wow, the car performed beautifully to the point where I got 5th place in the front-wheel drive open class. The only cars that were ahead of me were tuned Civic Type Rs, tuned Mark 7 or newer GTIs, and a built RSX Type S, all of which had limited slip, all of which were lighter, smaller cars, almost all of which had significantly more power. So really impressive. The combination of the supercharger and the power, even with the open diff, it seems to be doing really well. So as a reminder, I'm actually running with a disconnected front sway bar. So I have the Progress rear sway bar. I've loosened it to actually not the stiffer setting, but even the not stiffer setting is a fair bit stiffer than stock. So I have it disconnected in the front, but I do have some speedthane bushings that are acting as a progressive spring to limit the maximum amount of travel. But the reason this is really important is because on an open diff, when I'm going around the corner, having those not be connected allows the maximum amount of traction. So basically the rundown is I'm running just some Godspeed mono SS coilovers, but I swapped Swift springs on there and messed around with custom size bushings. And like I said, disconnected the front sway bar, running -2 camber in the front, -1-ish in the back. Still have kind of the hidden single exit exhaust, just a turbo muffler in the back. Replaced the high flow cat, left the resonator, seems to flow really well. I have plans to redo the exhaust, at least the axle back, so gonna try to have something clean that comes straight out the back that's more befitting the level this is performing at now. So it feels really good. I'm trying to think what else to mention. Still on stock rotors with the PowerStop Z23 pads. They've been fantastic. I do run a high temp .4 brake fluid, and I bleed it fairly frequently. So making sure you have good fluid is pretty much key. So far I have not had any fade at all. Even with the grippier tires, that was not an issue at all today. It just had whatever I asked of it, it did. It was pretty amazing. So let's see, what else? I think that's the gist of it. If people want to ask about power numbers, I hopefully, we'll see. It's hard to prioritize, but I do want to get another dyno run. Now that the tune is dialed, the rear motor mount is fixed, it seems to be running really, really, really happily. So if 230, 227 is the baseline in an unhappy state, it's 250 plus for sure. The other thing that really shows on the racetrack is how the power hits instantly. There's no lag. It's just that flat power curve. So really, really happy with it. Super reliable. It's been about 18 months. I think I've put 20,000 miles, maybe not even 20,000 miles. And as reliable a daily as it ever has been. only a lot faster. I'll post a video of me racing today. I've got I think I got a good one of one of the faster laps, and then I should make a video just of driving around in it, because in some ways the most impressive part is how it feels just in daily driving. So, all right. Oh yeah, one more quick note. It is now a possibility to put a smaller pulley on this. There's a handful of folks that are running the Supercharger kit that are already running the smaller pulley. It adds about a PSI everywhere, so that's like 10 pound-feet of torque across the entire power band, and at least 10 more horsepower. So I'm probably gonna do it next year. I probably need to replace the tensioner just because it's due and kind of making noise. So I'll probably do it then because it's pretty crowded in there. It's gonna be hard to get to. But for those of you that are wondering, yes, you can put a smaller pulley on it and add a little extra boost even without rebuilding. Really remarkable. So lots more to come. So